All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan, and welcome to another episode of Road to the Big Day. So now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, for tonight, we're going to be discussing about one very important thing when it comes to weddings, and that is storytelling. It is a wonderful story. Despite the backdrop of masks, the pandemic, this crisis, less guests and all, question is, what does it take really to tell a story? From the eyes of these storytellers, we're gonna know how beautiful are weddings, despite all of these challenges that we're facing right now. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored that we have with us two amazing individuals joining us this evening, our videographers and photographers, represented by, of course, our dear friends, Sir Brian Fontanilla of Chapter 1 Studio, and of course, the one and only Sherard of Wishing Well Films. Gentlemen,
Hello.
thank you very much for joining us
Hello.
tonight. Salamat. Ayan.
Thank you, Ren.
And of course, we'd like to thank everyone who is watching this tonight's episode of Road to the Big Day on Facebook Live. This is episode 7 already. So, almost 2 months ko nang ginagawa to. So, maraming salamat for still being with us and watching every single episode. Thank you. All right.
Congrats.
Now, thank you. Okay, so let's get on to it. Gentlemen, before we begin, let's just get to know you guys a bit. For those who may not know you on not on a personal note, pero more on a professional side. Just give me a story lang on how you started becoming a wedding photographer and videographer. So start muna ako sa'yo, Sir Brian. So basically, paano ba nag-start yung karera mo in becoming a part of the wedding industry?
Actually, Chapter 1 started 10 years ago, 2010. But even before that, we were doing a lot of commercial photography,
No. Yeah, sorry about that. I think we're back. Okay, we're on.
So there. So anyway, I think I started really doing photography since 2004 or 5 when I was still in college. And then afterwards, after doing a lot of commercial photography, we went into weddings. Me and my other friends went to weddings. And then 2010, Chapter 1 was born. So right now, it's actually our 10th year this coming October. And so there, yes. Yeah, it's been a while in the industry. And it's been fun. It's been really great. We've been growing. We've been learning a lot since then. And up until now, we're still learning a lot of stuff. in this industry.
Mhm. Okay. In your case, Sherard, paano ka ba officially nag-start sa wedding videography?
Ako naman, when I started wedding videography, nasa ano pa lang ako noon, third year college ako. So, nakakita ako ng studio na nagvi-video. So, print shop siya talaga, iSnap Creatives yung pangalan nila. And then, I started doing freelance work with them. And then, when I graduated, dumiretso na ako sa kanila. So, 2012, I started, pagka-graduate, diretso na ako working with them. And then, noong 2014, nakapag-workshop ako with Sir Jason Magbanwa. And then, doon ko talaga na-appreciate and na in love sa craft ng wedding filmmaking. Kasi doon ko na-realize, ang dami palang important na minsan parang pag hindi mo pa siya naiintindihan, parang baliwala lang siya. So, ayun, 2015 ako nag-start for Wishing Well. So, my partner ko si Kim Torres. And then, ayun siya. Until now, 5 years na kami.
Okay. Now, when it comes to you guys, no, I think, kailan ba kayo officially parang nagkakilala and nagka-collab with the two of you? Kasi parang for the past few posts that I've seen, it's mostly, I think, on a good level, it's mostly the two of you. So, hiwalay kasi kayong craft as a photographer with Sir Fonsas, basically like 10 years under his belt, which are almost the same thing din, under 10 lang. So, kailan kayo unang officially nagkasama? And how was that experience?
Kailan ba nag-umpisa yung Tinder? The joke lang.
Tinder! Hindi mo ready na!
Sherard, kailan ba yun, bro? I think it was one wedding in, somewhere in Las Piñas na we were the photographers and
yes.
It was the first time
may bamboo. Bamboo church.
It's a bamboo church. We were working
bamboo
together.
Organ.
First time we worked together. And then, the usual, okay, another new face in the industry, we met them, we went along well naman, ganyan, ganito. And then, afterwards, yung i-represent na yung SDE, pati yung mga slideshows, nung nakita namin yung work na sabi, wow, galing nila. Di pa namin sila. First time namin nakatrabaho, sobrang na-shock kami. So, galing na, wishing well na to, Wala si Sherard. Kilig ko. So, I'm not really sure what year was that, pero I guess that was 5 years ago. Nag-start in Wishing Well.
Oo. Parang 2015 nga ata yun.
Okay. So 2015 was your first encounter in Las Piñas, the bamboo.
Las Piñas.
And then since then, of course, you have your own thing working with other respected videographers and photographers. Pero I think we can safely say na pag kayo magkasama, masaya. Saka maganda yung jive nyo as a photographer and videographer.
Yeah, oo.
Now before
ako nag-enjoy kasi ako sa videos ni Chapter 1 kasi ang ganda ng slideshows nila pag SDE. So, ang sarap din nilang kasama kaya talagang okay din.
Nikilig ako, Sherard.
Yan. Hashtag ano na ba to? Fonrad? Hindi ko alam. Anyway, speaking of working together, I think it's one thing then to have your own photo and video company versus having a photographer and a different videographer. Now, when it comes to you guys, I guess one significant question that Suntuweds might need to understand is, how would you know if your respective photographer and your separate videographer can work well with each other? Kasi yung iba parang ang tendency, hindi mag-aano na lang ako, combo na lang, photo video na sila na lang. Although mas gusto nila yung photography ni ganito, or videography style ni ganyan, hindi, parang natatakot silang mag-combine. So when it comes to you guys, what do you think is that, are the key elements to make, despite having your separate studios and what have you, how can you make it work? How does it work? Paano siya nagiging maganda yung relationship and yung working chemistry ng magkahiwalay na photographer and videographer? Let's start with Sherard muna.
So far, in relationship naman, madalas naman okay naman lahat eh. In terms of photo and video kapag nakaka-work namin. Minsan lang din talaga, nagkakaroon din yung clients ng specific style na gusto nilang itackle, na gusto nila. For example, si photo gusto ganito yung style, si video ganito rin yung style na gusto nila. Minsan, nagkaka-match up talaga yung studios na yon kahit hindi siya ni-refer from someone else. So, minsan, madalas na nangyayari yon, talagang through time, pag lagi kayo magkasama, talagang nagkakaroon din naman talaga ng bonding sa photo and video team. So, tulad ng sa chapter 1 in Wishing Well, talagang since madalas kaming napagma-match up din, so kaya nakakasama din namin sila talaga. And for me, ang dali lang din katrabaho kapag madalas mo nakasama yung studio kasi alam mo na yung workflow nila. So sila din, alam din yung workflow. So ang dali lang magbigay ng ito na yung rings, sa inyo na, kayo na mag-shoot, kasi ito naman sa amin. Parang ganon.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Sir Fods? Ano yung mo naman? What's your take on this one? About the chemistry, like working relations, pag hiwalay?
Usually it starts with breakfast eh. Pag magkita-kita kami, magkakasama kami, mag-breakfast together, and then it's how we start the day on a shoot. We nag-aantayan kami, get along together first, kain muna ng breakfast, kwentuhan. Alam mo yun, we get all our psyches up muna. Pakiramdaman muna, kung kamusta, okay ba lahat, may kuyat ba, mayroon bang pagod, ganyan, ganito. So as the day starts, you would actually identify already kung sino yun medyo pagod to, kailangan natin saluin to, ganyan, ganito. So, usually, Wishing Well, when we see each other, bago pa kami umakyat, sabay-sabay na kami umakyat punta sa room ng bride, punta sa room ng groom, or kahit sa baba pa ng lobby. Actually, minsan nga, nagsusunduan kami, tapos from there, from the car pa lang, kwentuhan, tapos sabay-sabay kami punta dun sa venue. So, with that kasi we established already a connection kung paano namin itatakal yung shooting day. So, which is really nice na, of course, at first, it was, nung bago pa lang kami, hindi naman kami ganito close. And then eventually, it's just by chance when we recommend each other first. Wala pang tie-up kasi yan, wala pang tie-up talaga. So, pag kunyari, we have some couple who's looking for a photographer, we have a list, and then we recommend them. And then eventually, parang bingo lang, nagsasakto na, uy, nirecommend namin na couple, kinuha sila. So, we eventually work together again. So from there, we get to know each other well. Alam na namin yung mga galawan ng isa't isa, tapos alam namin ugali. And it's a really nice chemistry because there was a foundation. For 5 years, we have been working together. Siguro in a month, at least once or twice. So I think that's a substantial time for two studios to really work hand in hand together. So, yun, with Wishing Well, it was a process. It was, there was growth between the two of us. So, pag yung isa may kailangan ng ganyan, ganito, kunyari, nag-a-assist kami sa isa't isa, wala kaming assistant, especially now, isa lang kami. Alam mo yun, nagtutulungan kami. We give each other a hand. Kailangan ba yan? Kailangan mo ganito, ganito. Kailangan mo ng isang lens na yan. Sandali lang, gano'n. So, fluid siya. There's no friction, walang iyaan. Everyone's, kusa. They're all willing to help each other to reach a common goal, which is to create an awesome time for the couple at the same time, a wonderful output for them. So, that's how our chemistry became really solid. Di ba, Sherard?
Yes, I agree. Lalo na laking bagay ngayon na since for the past weddings natin, dalawa lang tayo. Tapos, I think it complements each other kasi, di ba nga, one photo, one video. Tapos, pag may kailangan ka, may kailangan rin ako. At least, parang give and take tayo to be able to produce a wonderful output for the couple. Kasi yun naman din talaga yung goal.
Yeah, that's
all right.
That's correct.
Now, Oh, speaking of which, no, so you started actually working under the circumstances, under the general community quarantine. Let me just go back a bit first. When all of this basically fell into our faces, so to speak, no. Um, what were your first reactions and ano yung impact when it comes to the business nung mga unang linggo nung nagkaroon tayo ng community quarantine? How bad, I guess, were your businesses affected, and what were the things that you encountered with your clients na who were supposed to have their weddings like in March and April and in the past few months pa of 2020? Sir Brian.
Okay, well, in the first week of ECQ, parang hindi pa nag-sink in talaga eh. Relax lang, parang we're all just thinking, okay, it's gonna be a really, really long weekend. Parang yun lang yung ano namin eh. That's our way of thinking initially. But eventually, when the ECQ was extended, and then season 1, may season 2, may season 3 na yung ECQ, di ba? Tapos naging GCQ. Eventually, parang na-realize namin, oh my God, this thing is real, and it's really affecting the industry. So gradually, our couples are getting in touch with us, asking for how do we do this? There's ECQ, and then there's so many rules and procedures that needs to be followed and guidelines. Na at the end of the day, the couples are thinking na, can we just postpone or worse, cancel the wedding? Mm-hmm. So it was difficult to hear those words from our couples, from our clients, kasi it's we're pretty sure they've been preparing for this day, and from behind it, yung attack ng pandemic eh. So no one's really prepared. Mm-hmm. Everyone was shocked. So eventually, of course, the first thing that came to our hearts talaga was kindness. Everyone's affected. We're all in the same storm, but everyone is in different boats. So kanya-kanya the effect of the pandemic to everyone is really different talaga. So when we talk to the couples, we ask them if are they really sure. Of course, we initially present them solutions to the problem. So we can do this, we can do that, we can adjust, etc. So what we did, well, to answer the question, the business was really affected, terribly affected. Most of our weddings this year who booked January, Feb, they all postponed. Almost, I think, 80% postponed. And then, siguro, well, I can count naman a few canceled talaga, as in totally canceled. Well, because for the reason that they would rather use their funds for the wedding to donate to the frontliners. So parang ang hirap naman tumanggi sa ganun. Parang sige, go ahead. If it's for humanitarian purpose, go ahead. Sige, we can't stop you. We can't convince you otherwise. I mean, everyone's affected with the pandemic. So okay, go. Pero yun nga, it was really badly affected. And we were all, during the ECQ talaga, we were all just praying and thinking and asking for wisdom from God kung paano namin tatakal itong pandemic. Kasi wala siyang pinipili. Mahirap, mayaman. Wala. Everyone's affected.
Right.
So yun.
Yeah. Okay. Sherard, in your end, kumusta kayo during that period? Yung when it comes to the postponements and the cancellation and all the 9 yards, kumbaga.
Actually, similar din eh. Parang no first few weeks, parang, sige, para siyang, finally may vacation na ako, parang ganun. Ganun na lang iniisip ko. Kahit pa paano may pahinga. Tapos, kaso lang nung tumatagal siya ng tumatagal, parang, yun din, nagkakaroon na rin ng clients na nagpapa-move. May mga clients ako na, we have a Bali wedding sa September. Talagang pinagpipray namin na sana matapos na agad para kahit paano matuloy namin yon. Pero eventually habang tumatagal nare-realize din ng couples na parang this will take too long din, na kailangan yung iba mag-move talaga ng wedding nila. So kami naman it hit me hard nung bayaran na ng bills. So parang
Oh.
sabi ko, ano to eh, parang
Judith
walang
sa si Jonah.
walang ka-income tapos magbabayad ka ng bills na nagpatong-patong at the same time merong parang overcharging tulad nung sa Meralco, parang hindi ko ma-figure out na bakit sobrang laki ng bill na ako lang mag-isa. Mas malaki pa
Yeah.
yung bill ngayon kaysa nung may tao pa dito. Nung may kasama pa ako. So, ayun, parang talagang naiintindihan ko na maraming nahihirapan ngayon sa times na to. So, parang kailangan talagang lumaban, maghanap ng ibang ways din para din magkaroon ng income. So, as of now, we're looking for clients na gusto pa rin mag-pursue sa wedding din nila, pero more on intimate. And ginagawa namin is flexible naman na kami sa package. Usually, we ask them kung ano yung working budget nila. So, we adjust accordingly na lang. Then hindi na siya yung parang before ito yung price namin. Ngayon nag-offer na kami. Ano po ba yung pwede naming matulong? Ano po ba yung kaya nating i-work on together? Kasi on the budget minsan pwede naman na siyang isang tao and restricted din kasi yung venues natin ngayon. For example, yung experience namin, our first wedding together with Chapter 1 during GCQ, total of 15 lang kami in total. 9 guests, that includes the couple, and the rest are suppliers na. 2 coordination, 1 photo, 1 video. So, yun ganun siya. The previous wedding we did, the other day, naman siya, total of 15 naman kami. Tama ba? Tama. 15 guests, sorry. Total of 15 guests naman. So, below 20 kami nun. So, talagang small scale lang talaga ang mga weddings kapag natutuloy siya. And very strict din talaga yung mga locations na buti nga meron ding alcohol station, merong fill-up form regarding contact tracing. So, fina-follow naman din talaga yung mga requirements para makaiwas sa hawaan. Ayun siya.
Okay. Yes. That's good to know at least. We're still sticking with our guidelines, particularly whether it's the minimum health guidelines or a little bit more stringent for some venues. No? Now let's talk about that experience. No? So you've already had the chance to have your profession practiced again, so to speak. No? Nakapag-shoot na kayo ulit as a photographer and videographer. Pero this time, sabi nyo nga, 1 photo, 1 video lang. Let's just talk about first yung the core job muna, which is yung documentation process. So for our guests lang to understand, no, kung ano yung pinagdadaanan ng isang photographer and videographer under this new normal. Alright. So before, the night before your event, what were the preps na kailangan yung medyo extra na i-set up sa sarili nyo? Kasi since solo flight kayo normally, Sherard, ilan kayo? Pag yung before all of this, normally ilan ang tao na
usually sa wedding day, nasa 6 to 7 kami. So I have
6 to 7.
3 I have 3 shooters. Tapos I have 1 editor, which is me, and another I do shoot and edit kasi. So 2-in-1 na ako. Tapos meron akong PA, tapos meron pa so I have 2 PAs and 1 driver. So minsan one assist, tapos yung driver minsan nag-a-assist siya. So roughly around 7 to 6 talaga kami in a wedding day.
Kayo, Sir Fons, dati ilan kayo?
For C1, for chapter 1, minimum 6. On a good day, 7 kami. So 3 shooters, 3 to 4 shooters, 2 editors, and then 1 PA. So yeah, more or less 6, 7 during a wedding day.
All right. So more or less the job of 6 to 7 people. So to just
naging isa na lang.
the two of you, one-on-one. The reason why I wanted to highlight, the reason why I wanted to highlight that, kasi I guess I had a chance to in my previous episode just to get an overview of how couples now feel about these things. And we also want them to understand na yun yung medyo malaking challenge para sa lahat. That the job of 6 people has to be done now by 1 or 2 at the most. Yung driving, baka pwedeng may magmaneho na lang sa inyo. Pero the entire shooting process, it's just gonna be you. Most likely. Kasi, iba yung atmosphere eh. So, let's go details of that. The night before of your shoot. So, what were the things that you had to extra na prepare aside from your usual gear? Ano yung medyo kailangan yung paghandaan more on the mental side and the physical things that you need to extra prepare for your shoot? Sherard.
So ako, ang ginawa ko the night before, to be honest, hindi ako nakatulog sa excitement. So I was really excited to do the wedding.
Mga sabik bumalik sa trabaho.
Sobra. Kasi, alam mo yun, nakakulong lang ako dito sa bahay ng napakatagal. Tapos, wala akong ma-shoot. Gusto kong makapag-interact sa tao. Parang, parang, it's something you really look forward to. Kung yung couple nga, they're looking forward for a wedding day, on a regular wedding day talaga, ako rin, na-excite rin ako kasi parang, gusto ko makita yung reactions ng couple kapag napapanood nila yung STE. So, ayun, nag-prepare ako ng gamit, minake sure ko na at the most, magiging packlight ako, kasi mabigat lagi yung equipment ko, laging madami akong nadadala, alam ng mga assist ko yan. Tapos, parang prepare ko lahat ng equipment ko, nag-charge ako ng batteries, yung audio ko, kailangan lahat, kompleto, lahat ng gears na kaya kong i-operate na mag-isa. So, what I did, nagdalawang cameras ako. Sabi ko, for editing, kailangan kong safe, kailangan may second cam ako, kahit ako lang mag-isa mag-operate ng dalawa. Tapos, when I tried to sleep, ayun, hindi ako makatulog. Nagdadasal na lang ako na sana maging maganda yung day na to, yung wedding day. And then, magulat na lang ako, nagtitext na si Fonts na gising ka na ba, ready ka na ba, or susunduin ka na. So, parang very exciting siya. Para akong nag-field trip ulit nung grade school. Alam mo yung feeling na gusto mo ulit makalabas, gusto mo makapunta somewhere. Parang ganun yung feeling ko. Na I'm excited to do my job. At the same time, na-excite ako para pasaya ng couple. Parang ganun yung feeling ko. Pero, to be honest, merong halong kaba. Kasi I know na kahit anong alcohol ko magdamag sa kamay ko, sa mga gamit ko, baka, nakakatakot pa rin baka mahawaan ako or hindi ko alam kung anong pwede mangyari during this pandemic. So, yun yung the day before.
Yeah, definitely that's a valid feeling, Sir Fonz, ikaw, natulog ka ba? Hindi din.
Well, to be honest, medyo napuyat ako nun kasi I had to prepare the gears, no. Siyempre, mag-isa lang din sa akin. Lahat ng gears na sa akin, mag-isa na ako, inuwi ko. So, of course, it wasn't only to my safety. It's also for the couples and the guest safety. So what I did, I disinfected all my gear. Lahat ng gear, talagang pinunasan ko ng mga swabs and everything just to make sure. And then set them aside in one corner of the house, ready to be picked up for the following day. So, yun, medyo matagal. Kasi unang-una, you have to, like what Sherard said, you have to identify the gear that's really parang useful lang, yung kailangan lang talaga. Kasi usually, nung wala pang, hindi pa intimate weddings, lahat ng gears dala-dala namin Salpak ng lahat dyan para for sure gagamitin yan, pero hindi naman talaga gagamitin. Pero alam mo yun, lahat talaga dinadala namin. This time, the night before, as in, yung mag-pack kami, as in, yung essential lang talaga. For one photographer. So, 2 cameras, 1 photographer, tapos cards, laptop, hindi na rin nagtala ng laptop kasi wala naman SD or something. So, backlight. So, ang tagal. Iniisip mo yun. That was the first GCQ wedding the night before. Syempre, kapaka, hindi namin alam ano nangyari. So, talagang what we did was backlight lang talaga. Kung kaya lahat sa isang backpack, Yun yung ginawa namin. So, yun, after that, after repacking all your gears, there's still this, that's true, there's excitement, there's anxiety, but the worst was, there's still fear. Kasi, yun nga, you don't know what to expect on your first GCQ wedding. And, of course, there's the pandemic, you're not sure na kung sa mga guests or sa mga ibang suppliers meron. So, it was a risk. But one thing that really kept para bumabaing ka ba, bumabaing takot, it's just we were really, my wife and I we were just really praying before we sleep na everyone's protected, na there are no accidents. It's just gonna be an awesome time for everyone, all the suppliers, all the guests. So yun lang. We did all the things we needed to do, and talagang the rest dinasal na namin. So that's what kept me really up late bago yung first GCQ wedding talaga namin. So actually, minessage ko si Sherard nung morning na yun. Sinabi nga sa akin, kanina pa ako gising. Actually, wala na akong tulog eh. Sabi ko, seryoso ka? Sige, dadaanan na kita dyan, bro. Tara. So yun.
Okay. Now, with all that emotion, yung kaba, yung excitement, and all everything else in between, no, you start working on your first GCQ wedding. Basically, I guess for many suppliers who are watching right now, so before anything else, mag-shoutout lang muna ako. So we have, I think, Teddy Manuel's watching, of course, Kim Torres is here, Nick Gutierrez, Sam Fontanilla, Catherine Cruz, I saw Cathy Ebuen is here, Sir June Salud,
Hi, Sir June.
Michael Ruiz is also here with us. Thank you very much for watching. Yan. Ayun, BL Martinez and Migs.
Hi, BL.
Hi, Migs.
Hello. Uy, si Ben. Hi, Ben.
And hi.
Hi, Ben.
Yan.
Hi, Ben. Hi, Cam.
So since, hi everyone. Yan. So since this is a first-hand experience, let's just give everyone an overview lang on how the entire thing works now under these circumstances. So usual naman yan, pagdating natin, kasi in your case, you had a coordinator, no? You were lucky enough to work with a coordinator for this wedding. Tama ba ako?
Yes.
Or, okay, good. Kasi I think in my previous episode, sila lang, wala silang coordinator. So, medyo bulag sila nun. So, in your case, medyo, I guess, were they the one who prepared yung, kumbaga, let's start from the beginning. Pag nag-shoot kayo ng detailing, sila na ba nag-prepare? Sila na ba nag-disinfect? Or you had to do it your own? How did it work for you guys? Anyone can dance. Si Fons na lang muna. Sige.
Okay. All right. Actually, it was a relief knowing that there was a coordinator. Kasi the primary concern of us documentation team is the time schedule, the day schedule. So, kapag wala yun, we're running headless chickens talaga. Kasi kailangan naming ayusin yung... Actually, kasi yung schedule, iba na talaga eh. Nagbago na eh. Sobrang nagbago na yung schedule.
Mm-hmm.
We normally come in 4 hours or 5 hours before. Ngayon, we come in like 7 or 8 hours before the ceremony.
7 or 8?
Oh, kasi, which is, I think it has to be like that eh. Kasi wala na eh. There's no designated photo or video sa groom, sa bride. So, talagang one after the other. So, after the groom, the bride, groom ulit, after the groom, bride. So in 8 hours, 7-8 hours na yun, sakto lang siya before the ceremony. So it was really nice to know. It was comforting for us to know that there was a coordinator during that time. They were there, sobrang helpful nila kasi they prepared the details. I'm not so sure lang if they were the ones who disinfected it, but I strongly believe the couple disinfected it first talaga before they turned it over to the coordinator. So yun, when we got Sherard and I, when we got there, all the details were arranged na. Naka-layout na dun sa bed, yung mga symbols, and then yung mga gown, and then yung mga shoes. So parang, wow, thank you, merong ganyan. So it was a relief for us to know na they were there to do those things. Kasi we were expecting baka tayo pa gumawa nun. Kasi ayaw hawakan, kailangan disinfected. Ganyan, ganito. So, sobrang helpful that there was a coordinating team, primarily for the schedule and then fixing the details for us. Also, actually during the church also, they were so helpful kasi, syempre, kahit konti lang yung guest mo, you still have to fix the entourage. Pagpila nila sa, meron pa rin entrance, kahit konti lang yung, kahit wala nang, konti lang yung principal sponsors, konti lang yung mga guests. As in, you still have to fix the line outside the church. So, they were there to do that. Yun, the usual things that the coordinators do. Nandun pa rin, hindi. Pag mawala yun talaga totally, sobrang wala. Sobrang hirap talaga na maging trabaho namin. So, it was a relief to know that they were there to do those things for us. Lalo na pagdating sa reception, some couples who would still ought to do live coverage. So, nag-set up sila ng Zoom. Actually, nag-set up din sila ng Zoom sa church. Okay na ba to mention the name of the coordinators we work with?
No,
Okay
it's
naman,
fine, it's fine.
Yeah, it was,
One
I think
big
it was
industry, wala tayong problema.
Okay, it was the weekend planner. And they were so nice. Everyone's so nice talaga to each other. And although ang nakikita lang namin sa isa't isa would be our eyes talaga. Hindi namin alam kung nakangiti siya sa amin or galit na eh. Pero I think nakikita naman sa eyes kung masaya naman yung kausap namin. So, yun, they were so helpful, they were so professional, and they even set up the Zoom live coverage sa church. It was at Don Bosco, and it was also at the reception sa may Romulo Cafe. So, yun, they were troubleshooting sila, gumagawa ng tech. May program pa rin, may first dance, may cake cutting. Wine. Kompleto pa rin. As in, they really, they did a good job talaga. As in, for us, documentary team, it was nice to have those kasi meron ko yung may lalagay first sa SDE or sa highlights, kami sa album. So may materials and sobrang helpful talaga sila. It was a relief knowing that there are coordinators there to guide and help us. Everyone. So there.
Oh, yeah. At least that's good to know na, sorry, say go ahead, Sherard.
Ayun, actually, medyo na kakaawa din sa side nila kasi for example, we did our wedding yung wedding prep sa hotel. Now, yung hotel, hindi talaga siya yung tulad dati na maraming tao. Walang bellboy, parang sobrang limited lang yung staff. Tapos, yung coordinators na rin yung nagtutulak ng carts. Parang hindi kasi talaga pwede daw tumulong yung nasa hotel. So, alam mo yun, onti na lang kayo, tapos nadagdagan pa yung workload dahil kailangan mo mag-extra effort para lang magawa yung service. So, isa yan sa mga tingin kong struggles din, lalo na kapag ganitong small team talaga yung nangyayari sa weddings natin. So, sobrang nakaka-appreciate din sa side ng mga coordinators na they're doing it on the extra mile pa.
Yeah, but that's the fact alone that it's gonna be hard for like supplier wise, so like for coordinators to do these things kasi yung preps nga, 'di ba, nasanay tayo na we have people from the concierge or the hotel people to help us out whether pagbababa ng gamit. So solo na natin lahat 'yan, particularly for the coordinators. Yeah. When it comes to like yung experience nyo pre-event muna tayo during the preps, shooting, or did you have to be super conscious when it comes to like doing your portraits na? Like, kailangan ba lagi kayong, were you using face shields? Lagi ba kayo naka-mask? How was your experience? Like, for you, Sherard, yung during the preps na shoot, paano yung atake nyo?
During prep, so, ang una kong ginawa, set up ng gamit, tapos, make sure ko na nakaset up yung dalawang camera kasi hindi ko alam kung kailangan ko ba yung second cam. So, I took time-lapse, nagkuha na ako ng details, tapos kada tapos ko, alcohol ako ng alcohol. And then, parang, siya it was still the same siya experience on a fast or turbo settings na parang, ang bilis lang ng makeup din, Kasi pag meron pang ibang i-make up, isang taon lang din. So, ang bilis ng pacing, tapos mag-isa ka lang din. So, parang kailangan mabilis mong ma-shoot tong detail na to. Kailangan ma-shoot mo na lahat ng gamit ng couple. Kailangan ma-shoot mo na rin yung mga candid shots. Kasi may isang guest lang din, pero yung guest na yon ng couple, ano siya, parang close talaga, very close. So alam mo talaga na nag-uusap sila, hindi lang sila yung nakatayo at naghihintay ng may gagawin. So may mga candids na opportunities na dapat din nakukunan, which is, ang nangyayari is since divided nga yung lahat, imbis na ma-divide yung workload, ikaw naglahat ng gagawa nun. So kailangan mo maging efficient sa pag-shoot ng lahat ng bagay para makuha mo rin yung mga candid moments na madalas mamimiss mo talaga pag mag-isa ka lang. Tapos, so far, nagkaroon din kami ng option to shoot sa rooftop ng hotel. Kaso lang, nag-decide kami na wag na lang ituloy mag-shoot sa taas kasi it will consume time. At the same time, papawisan yung couple yung bride. So, parang, in this situation, parang kailangan maging comfortable yung couple natin kasi definitely nakaka-stress din siya na parang the day before, malamang marami silang ginawang preparations na yung mga giveaway nga din nila, puro alcohol, merong mask. So, alam mo yun, parang naghanda rin talaga sila for safety ng guest nila.
Right.
So far, ayun, parang yun lang ang feeling ko sa preps, parang ang bilis ng pacing na kahit sabihin natin maaga kami pumunta doon, since isa lang yung gumagawa, ang bilis pa rin talaga ng pacing niya. Ganun yung feeling na pang 5 tao yung gumagawa nito pero ikaw lahat gagawa. So yun.
Okay. Kasi halos kumbaga sambot mo lahat ng moments from yung the usual shot list natin to all the candid moments that probably your second or third photographer would be able to capture na if they were there. Pero in this case nga kasi, wala Kumbaga ikaw at ikaw lang. Now, for the ceremony, so we've discussed it a bit already na. So you had your marches pa rin, the entire ceremony and all, yung lahat ng sacraments and whatnot. While you were shooting the preps until the ceremony, what was your thought process? Kasi this is all happening under the guise of this was not supposed to be like this. There were supposed to be more people. There was supposed to be, a bigger setup or whatever. More time with the entourage. There was an actual entourage, like your groomsmen, your best man, the bridesmaid, the maid of honor, and all of this. I guess yun kasi yung medyo challenge para sa mga ibang couples that they could not visualize it being as happy as they wanted to be with the absence of these people. At the same time, yung elements at the back na you're all doing this under the period of quarantine. So, from a storyteller's perspective, how were you approaching this? Were you conscious na ayokong ipakita masyado yung details ng pagiging quarantine nito, or you were just showing everything? Like, what was your thought process in like capturing moments, whether candid or the standard ones? Let's start with you, Sir Fonts.
Actually, everything's so new, and normally, if you have the full team, the two most primary objective of storytellers would be creativity and capturing each moment. Pero kasi i-downsize your team into one, ang nangyayari, ang primary objective mo just to capture everything, like candid moments and yung mga important moments talaga. That's the primary objective na like contract signing, family pictures, yung mga staple na mandatory shots. Primarily, ang iniisip namin, we have to stick to that. And then secondary would be going to creativity. So as much as what I'd like to be creative at the same time documenting every important detail. There's always compromises. So yun nga, mas importante na mapicturean to, mapicturean yan, kaysa maging sobrang creative. I mean, that's my point of view. So, sobrang bonus na there's still time. There's still time na you can be creative, you can do this, you can do that. Kasi ang kalaban talaga dito oras plus yung pagod. So, given that, you have to really sustain your presence of mind. Other than making sure that you're documenting everything properly and everything's na-picture mo na lahat. So, you have to still think that you are still in a pandemic season. So, yung presence of mind mo, kailangan nandyan pa rin eh. Yung naka-gear ka nga, naka-full PPE ka, naka-face shield, naka-mask. Pero, kasi ang primary transmission kasi ng virus is through your hands eh. So, at some point during the day, if you're so tired and you're so preoccupied with other things, capturing this, capturing that, mawawala yung focus mo sa pag-disinfect ng kamay mo eh. Parang magiging careless ka, you'll still end up being careless. Sometimes, makating mask mo, makating loob, tatanggalin mo, kakamutin mo. Ayun na, di ba? So,
makalimutan mo na.
Makalimutan mo na, ay naku, ang dami pa nang ginawa kang ibang bagay. So, for all the videographers, photographers, actually all the suppliers, one thing that you really have to be, to sustain during your work that day is your presence of mind. Disinfect your hands. Actually, sobrang naging alcoholic na ako eh. Kasi spray ako ng spray sa kamay ko, sa damit ko, sa lahat. As in, bago ko tanggalin yung mask ko, bago kamutin, talagang I make sure na disinfecting kamay ko. Kasi it's really hard, especially now, my wife is pregnant, going out to shoot weddings and getting in contact with a lot of, more than 10 people. That's a really high risk already to get exposed to the virus. So, hindi naman sa praning ko, pero I'm just really being safe for myself, for my wife, for my family, and to all the guests in the event. So, yun lang talaga, kailangan presence of mind. So, yung utak mo talaga, 3 times gumagana eh. Kailangan pag-ganamin 3 times. So, yun nga, I recommend sleep early the following day. Medyo napuwet na kami ni Sherard, kaya medyo sabaw-sabaw kami, pero naitawid namin. So, yun nga, presence of mind talaga, you have to have a really good night's sleep, good breakfast, and then yun nga, focus. But the best thing talaga I could really recommend or talagang what all the suppliers would do is to really start your day with prayer talaga. I mean, that's the best thing to do. Even before you start touching your camera or going anywhere else, me and my team, kung sino mga kasama ko, we always start with prayer that day para lahat protected. Tsaka lahat talaga praying that day would be just a breeze and an awesome day. The fellowship is everyone's happy, everyone's safe. So, yun lang talaga. Yung kamay ko medyo dry na eh. Nakikita mo na yung mga kalyo. Hindi ako nagbubuhat.
Sa spray,
Dahil sa spray, dahil sa alcohol, sobrang pero I'd rather be, disinfected than karoon ng malambot na kamay. So, ganun kahirap. Ganun kahirap talaga.
Now, Sherard, when it comes to that, so we see now the struggle of you have to think of so many things all at the same time. You're thinking about your safety, you're thinking about your job. Does all of this hamper your creativity? Parang nawawala na ba yung beauty ng pag-shoot? You're just trying to get by ba? Or paano? How do you approach these things? With this mindset na sobrang kailangan mong isipin.
Well, actually sa akin, parang the day before nga sobrang ang dami ko na iniisip ko siya kung paano ko ba itatackle yung edit, paano ko itatackle yung video, na knowing na ako lang mag-isa, tapos ang setup ko is tripods. So, indeed, it was a challenging shoot talaga. Pero creativity-wise, parang for me, I got excited kasi I can do something different naman. On a creative level, makaka-explore ako ng bago for me na usually naka-gimbal ako, gagawin ko na lang siya naka-tripod. So for the first wedding I did, 99% of the shots naka-tripod talaga. Tapos may isang shot lang ako doon na ginawa kong handheld just to break the feel during the edit. So, yun lang siya. Same lang din kami ni Fonts na sinabi kanina na priority ma-document yung nangyayari. I was taking shots of the couple, the priest, yung guest na nakamask, kasi as much possible na pinapakita ko talagang magkakahiwalay sila. Kasi yun naman din talaga dapat na magkakahiwalay sila sa seats. So, I was documenting it on a parang raw na walang direction in terms of upo ka po dito kasi maganda po yan. Wala nang ganun walang ganun. So, gusto mo talagang pakita yung totoo. Kasi in 5 years time, 10 years time, pag pinanood ng couple natin yung video, they will be able to relate on it kasi it happened on their special day. So, yun, ganun siya. Yung sa creativity-wise naman, I brought some different kind of lens na it will help to give some creativity. So, kahit tripod shots lang siya, may dating pa rin kahit papano. May mga ganun akong ginawa para lang to add flavor. And sa editing-wise din naman sa video, parang dinaan ko sa maraming cuts. Kumbaga, hindi siya yung parang, pag pinanood mo kasi porket tripod, boring. Parang ganun. So, actually, yung couple, nung binubook kami, sige, ano tayo, ito na lang po yung service na mabibigay namin. Pero ako, I wanted to give an extra mile. I said, I'll give them a 1-minute video for them as a gift for, syempre, booking us despite of this pandemic. And then, what I did, I gave them a 2-minute video. Kumbaga, nakakatuwa din kasi ang ganda ng feedback nila ng couple. They were so happy with the video. So, parang yung effort na binibigay namin as a documentation team, minsan priceless talaga yung reaction ng couple Yun yung for me very very fulfilling na magpasaya ng tao. Yun siya. So, ayun, tingin ko mas malaki kasi ang room for creativity pagdating sa video dahil it's a moving Moving siya. You have a story to tell, may audio, meron kang visuals, marami kang pwedeng gawin. Yun lang din pala na experience ko, tricky yung audio situation natin sa ceremony. So, buti na lang din meron tayong mga advanced equipment na pwede nang ikabit sa couple, pero minsan talaga parang mahirap i-take yung risk na lumapit din sa mga tao So, tulad nung microphone, iniwan ko na lang siya sa altar, nagpaalam ako sa noon na, Father, pwede po ba ako makilagay ng microphone dyan sa altar? Kasi hindi ko po abot yung speakers, which is usually nagdadala ako na light stand para maabot yung speaker sa ceremony. So ngayon, parang gano'n na lang. Kung ano na lang yung kaya na ma-take na audio na mas maganda compared sa on-camera lang. So, kailangan talaga pag-isipan the day before and during the day. So, ang dami mong iniisip sa araw na yon. So, gano'n siya.
So all of this on top of you think about your safety and your work talaga, no? I guess, would it be safe to say that yung glamour is parang pinalitan natin ang konsepto ng realness when it comes to documenting weddings or when it comes to telling your wedding story under the new normal? Kasi before, it was all about like the fun moments, the kilig and what have you. Pero is it now more leaning towards that yung raw and real emotions lang? Yung kumbaga parang yung how I said it, it's like raw lang na kung ano yung nararamdaman nila, whether it's very quaint or simple or quiet or talagang very may jolliness pa rin or a little bit of excitement. Is it safe to say that yun na yung parang direction natin when it comes to storytelling? Sherard.
Me. So far, yun naman din talaga yung goal is to show kung ano talaga yung nangyayari sa isang wedding day. And I think, yun pa rin naman talaga hanggang ngayon. Kumbaga, hindi naman to fabricated happiness, hindi naman to fabricated emotions on a wedding day. So, yung totoong emotions ng couple, talagang usually madodocument mo naman talaga siya eh. Tulad nung sinabi ko na ako, kailangan ko talaga ma-take yung candid moments ng couple, ng bride, ng groom, during prep. So, doon pa lang, actually, yung first wedding namin, nakakatuwa kasi parang feeling ko, parang hindi sila nag-worry. Not in a bad way, pero parang masaya yung couple na, yes, ikakasal na ako, madaming naging problem, pero ito pa rin, tuloy pa rin. So, nararamdaman mo yun as a videographer, as a photographer, na yung real emotions nila, nagtatranslate din naman sa video. So, parang nakakatuwa din na may nag-message sa akin, napanood nila yung video, parang sabi nila, nakakatuwa kasi parang despite of you na mag-isa ka lang, tapos sa situation, nakuha mo pa rin yung emotions ng couple. So, parang it's a big thing na parang over glamour shots, over complicated shots, over beauty rings and all. For me, priority talaga yung candids eh. Yun talaga yung hindi mo siya pwedeng ma-miss kasi with our situation right now, talagang full of emotions talaga ang mga weddings ngayon. Definitely, maraming affected, maraming relatable sa current situation, couple man or guest man. Parang nung previous wedding din namin, yung guest talagang nagbabawas yung couple, naiiyak ang guest. So parang, for me, naging intimate siya, naging super intimate wedding. Kasi dati yung intimate wedding nasa 30, 50, marami pa rin siya kung totoo kasi. Ayun lang talaga naging super liit. Pero itong mga guest nila na to, sobrang close talaga. Ito na yung parang close, yung pinaka-important guest nila sa buhay nila. So, nakakatuwa kasi taking candid shots talaga will definitely show the real emotions ng isang wedding. And it will translate din on a story basis na pag kwento mo na siya. Ayun.
That's good to hear, no? At least talagang kahit despite this situation, sila mismo, I guess that's one thing that we need to we need to highlight, that it's not really dependent on us as suppliers to make your day fun, exciting, and still memorable. It's still on you eh. Kasi kayo yung kinukunan, araw nyo to, event nyo to, buhay nyo to. Now, when it comes to, in your case, Sir Fonts, pagdating sa photography, kasi medyo mahirap eh. Kasi kalahati ng mukha ang makikita mo na lang mask eh. Diba? Well, it's just mask and then the eyes. That's it. What's the challenge of translating these emotions and seeing these moments, given the fact that you have this so many barriers with you? Not only in a personal note that you have to take distance, but at the same time, yung mismong subject mo, kumbaga, your couple or the guest are like all covered up, so to speak. Hindi ka pwedeng masyado makapag-engage. How do you approach that naman?
Actually, the couples who really push through with their weddings during this GCQ, we actually super appreciate them. Not because we have work right now, but because they are really the model or the epitome of love wins talaga eh. Kasi in spite of this unprecedented times, they still it's like they shine the brightest during these times eh. Kasi they show more emotions, no? Kahit nakatakip yan, you can see through their eyes. You can see through their eyes that they're really happy. They don't care if there's a pandemic. We want to get married. I mean, that's our primary reason why we went to weddings. We want to capture those things, love, emotions, diba? So it was really that this time talaga you could see them resonating it eh. You could malayo pa lang, alam mo na masaya sila, alam mo na wala silang pakialam, alam mo na mahal na isa't isa, walang makakapigil sa amin. Ganun eh, yun yung vibe, yun yung aura na nakikita mo sa kanila eh. So parang, to be honest, it wasn't really that hard to capture those moments eh. Kasi it's radiating on them eh, from them eh. Parang,
lumalabas na lang ng kusa.
Lumalabas na talaga ng kusa kasi talagang it was their choice. They knew the risks, but they still pushed through with the wedding. And we really appreciate that. Kasi that's our reason for being. This is our work, this is our passion. And seeing them shining the brightest during this unprecedented time, sobrang, talaga, money shot. As in, of course, kapag nag-shoot kami, we shoot them with their mask. But as for courtesy, we ask them, are you okay if we get some shots without your mask? As courtesy, we ask them, syempre, diba? So, there's, okay, walang problema. So, they take it out, we take photos of them with and without masks. So, everything's documented, the realness, people having their PPEs on, and then people having, lahat ng mga paraphernalia for the pandemic nandun. It's just, that's our style kasi, Chapter 1 style talaga, it's just really capturing the real thing. So, for us, it was really a plus capturing how love conquers everything, kahit may pandemic. As in, sige, tuloy pa rin ang kasal, wala makakapigil sa amin. It was really, really easy, and it was really, for us, as in talagang sa puso As in, grabe, tinuloy nila kahit ganito. So it was sort of a motivation for us to still pursue this passion, even if, yun nga, there are so many restrictions, there are so many risks. So, yun, we really appreciate the couples who know the risks and took them, and prove that love really conquers everything, even if there's a pandemic going on. So, yun.
Amen to that. Now, sige, tawid tayo from your preps to ceremony, now reception. I guess, for me, feeling ko, mas relax na ba yung shoot sa reception? Total, nasa isang lugar na lang kayo. Medyo mas, nakapahinga ba kayo? Hindi din. Hindi pa din.
Tuloy ang laban.
Okay. One medyo light question lang. Sir Fonz, kasi, how do you, ito yung as a host, since I'm still a host, no? Parang my main question nung nag-iisip ako while I was doing a program, the traditions are fine. The cake, the wine, walang problema. The money dance, uso na ngayon yung QR code, GCash, and whatever. Although may charge na yung GCash, that's a different story. But, paano yung photo ops ng guest? How did you have the chance to do it? Paano mo siya in-execute? Like, ano ba, layo-layo pa rin yung wala nang closer couple? Paano ginawa mo dito?
Well, if you really follow the guidelines talaga, which I still recommend everyone follows it, talagang social distancing. Pag-picture mo sila, ganun. But the thing is kasi, magkapamilya sila. They live in one house. They stay, the couple would surely stay in one bed. So parang, it doesn't make sense if you still apply the social distancing regulation. Kasi wala sila rin magkakasama, di ba? So, initially, we asked them, for the pictorial, would you still want to do the social distancing regulation or sama-sama na? As courtesy, pero as for my perspective, talagang, sige na, group shot na, kayo rin yung magkakasama sa bahay. So, yun. And then as the rest of the guests, like a pair of ninang, and then a pair of I think secondary sponsor. As courtesy talaga, we still ask them if you still want to maintain the social distancing procedure, and then we still want to wear the mask. So it's actually really up to the guests and the couples. But primarily, we respect the rules and the regulations. We have to follow them, and yeah. So I'm not sure if that makes sense, but diba parang yeah, yun. That's how we do it.
I get your
Group hug, group hug pa rin sila. O group hug, o smile, ganyan, ganito. Kasi, it really looks better in the picture. Meron din social. But for example, if it's really everyone else na talaga, that's the time we strongly tell them, okay, we make sure everyone's wearing a mask, and there's still at least the minimum social distancing guideline para safe and walang violation.
Right.
Tricky din siya Tricky siya kasi yung venues namin recently, sobrang liit lang din.
Okay, okay.
Nakakatuwa,
That's a
nakakatuwa din
problem nga.
sa una pa lang. Kasi makikita mo, yung tables, may one seat apart. Tapos, yung second venue naman namin na wedding is merong acrylic in between. So, kumbaga,
Okay.
talagang iniiwasan talaga magkaroon ng ano. Pero, maliit eh. To be honest, it's small. Oo. So, it's really tricky na parang paano mo kukunan na magkakahiwalay sila na masikip yung lugar. So, ayun siya, parang inisip ko na lang, mga family members naman sila, parang sa kanila siguro magkakakilala sila. So, parang for them, they feel comfortable siguro. Pero for us suppliers, medyo may risk na feeling, alam mo yun, risky yung ginagawa natin ngayon. Pero we really need to follow. And so far, nagtanggal lang naman sila ng mass reception kapag kumakain. So, yun, alcohol lang kami ng alcohol. Ayun, parang kailangan din talaga maging safe sa side namin. Pero with the group shots and all, that's a tricky subject to tackle kasi what if meron silang friends na hindi ngayon lang basta something like that. Parang medyo tricky siya. We want to follow the rules, but the venue will not allow us then to have a social distancing shot. So, ayun.
Kasi masikip.
Restricted talaga sa venue. Restricted sa venue.
Oo.
Which is, hindi naman talaga natin masasabing yung couple mag-book sila ng malaking venue kasi maliit lang din naman yung area na kukunin nila. So, during group shots talaga, wala. Yan talaga.
Wala. Dasal-dasal na lang. Kumbaga, kasi unlike before that we're able to like book hotels na medyo like big ballrooms, even if you fit few there, okay lang, maluwag, you have the proper spaces. I think right now, mostly what's being tapped as reception venues are restaurants. So, Mr. Lin Tan Salazar, I think is still watching. So, si ma'am, ano lang din yan, bagong sabak lang din yan to a reception. So, mukhang may pag-uusapan na naman kaming bago. may bago na naman kaming topic next week. Yes? Invitation agad. Okay. Anyway, one of the key highlights always during reception before was the same day edit photo and same day edit video. In this case, obviously, since you're alone, you don't really have the opportunity to do this anymore. Tama ba ako?
Yeah.
Wala na halos, diba? Kasi you're basically covering lang eh. What I've heard is what is being pushed now is the concept of next day edit. Yun yung basically whatever your supposedly highlights for the same day is instead of having it on that day, the following day nyo na lang pinopost on your social media platforms. Is that something you're keen on doing? Is that something you think many would opt to do dahil nga hindi tayo makapag full-on team dahil sa sitwasyon natin with the headcounts and all? Fonz muna, sige.
Yeah, actually, with our intimate packages naman, we still offer the next day or the other day edit slideshow or SD. So, kasi napaka-imposible talaga. Napaka-imposible magkaroon ng SD on this kind of setup. So, yeah, we still offer it to them. And then, there are still adjustment in the prices and we're still... actually, our packages talaga would really depend on... It's really fluid and it's adjustable depending on how of course, everyone's not in the same financial situation. So with a kind heart, we always give leeway to all our couples, check their situation. How can we help them? It's really right now it's really helping each other community. May tawid lang talaga to. So yun nga, we still offer that. We make sure iba talaga singgalawan yun since isa lang yung shooter. If we know that this package, this couple ought to get a next day on-site slideshow, we have to put into mindset yung mga shots na gusto mo talaga ilagay dun sa slideshow. So it's really gonna be a different workflow again for you, rather than just making shots for an album. So two things, you have to take shots for the slideshow and you have to take shots for the album. So,
Right.
yun nga, mahirap din talaga. Adjust na lang. So yeah, but yeah, we offer that. We love doing it for our couples, and it's a really nice addition in this intimate package talaga. Si Sherard, same day edit pa rin eh.
We,
Yung gabi.
lakas!
Oh,
Seryoso ba?
Morning wedding kasi, kaya ng gabi.
Oh, yeah. Yun lang din. Yung first wedding kasi namin together, it was a morning wedding. So, right after ng wedding nila, may araw pa. So, nung nakabalik ako sa amin, hinatid ako ni Fonz, natulog ako sa sahig. ganon ako kapagod. As in,
tulog ka na sa kotse.
Oh, pero iba yung feeling na yung katawan mo. Parang, alam mo yung nilapag ko yung gamit ko, napaluhod na lang ako, tapos napahiga na lang ako on my back. Nakahiga ako sa sahig. Kulang na lang, magganyan ako para may star eh. Ay, yung angel. Snow angel. Ano siya eh, it's very tiring physically and emotionally, pati mentally. Kasi, ang dami mong iniisip, ang dami mong ginagawa on a day. Tapos, ako, sa sobrang pagod ko, parang nag-power nap na lang ako kaysa sa mag-transfer agad. Kasi sabi ko, kailangan mag-recover ng katawan ko para meron pa rin akong creativity sa utak ko kung paano ko itatakal yung edit. And then after siguro 1 hour na pagtulog sa sahig, ayan, nag-start na ako mag-edit ulit. Tapos morning ko na siya pinablish sa, madaling araw na siya na-publish sa Wishing Well. So, tingin ko hindi talaga siya possible mag-SDE na yung quality is nandun pa rin kung you're looking for that. Kasi definitely, if you're going to do a SDE, kailangan mo ng mas malaki-laking team, at least 3. Kasi nagagawa ko naman yung SDE with 3 kami. Ang problem lang sa ganito mag-isa ka is marami kang mamimiss na important emotions, candid reactions, na dalawang camera na nga yung ino-operate ko eh. I wanted to do 3, pero hindi siya practical gawin. So, ayun siya.
Hirap na. Click dito.
Talagang tingin ko ma-offer din talaga yung next day edit for our couples. Kasi, syempre, gusto din talaga nila mapanood yung video agad. So, depende rin yan sa mga mapag-uusapan ng client and studio kung ano ba yung pwede nating i-offer sa minsan kasi mababad na yung package eh. Kumbaga, adjustment talaga to work on something na we can do both sides. Kasi we need to help each other din eh. Na, syempre, we have a business to maintain. We're trying to survive a business. At the same time, kahit gusto man talaga namin tong craft na ginagawa namin, we need to do something about it na kahit pa paano is hindi naman sobrang luging-lugi talaga on each side. Right. So, ayan, parang we do extra mile naman, we do something special for our clients naman din. So, ayun, parang ano siya eh, adjustable, and I think mas maraming mag-offer ngayon ng next day edit. Siguro pag morning wedding, possible pa yung mag-SDE ng gabi mapapanood. Wala sa reception, pero mapapanood siya within the day. Pero tingin ko, the next thing is the next day edit or the traditional edit na mas mahaba, pero mas full yung edit. Kumbaga, walang time na hinahabol. Quality yung makukuha. Parang ganun. Yun yung, which is yun naman yung ina-offer namin. Na as of now, I don't offer the same day edit, but I'll guarantee I'll be doing their edit, the full edit. So, ganun siya.
Cinematic highlights.
Yes.
Right. Now, after you've done your work, sabi nyo nga mismo, talagang muntik nang maghiwalay siguro yung katawan lupa niya sa pagod. That's just the tired part. On the health-wise, do you intend to put yourself in quarantine? Muna don't do shoots for the next 14 days before you do another one, or paanong approach nyo? Sir Fonz, ikaw, paanong approach mo dun sa ganun sitwasyon?
Well, we haven't been in quarantine after the shoots. Kasi, like me, after our first wedding, I had another wedding the following day. So parang it's really impossible to quarantine myself. What I did lang talaga is, even before I come inside the house talaga, sa labas pa lang talaga, doon na ako naliligo. I take off my clothes, may naka-ready na, naka-prepare na soap and towel dyan. As in, ligo, disinfect, bago pumasok, even before I step inside the house. So, pagpasok sa house, ulit sa banyo, another ligo ulit, just to make sure that you're all disinfected talaga. Of course, you're thinking of your family, you're thinking of the guests you're going to get in contact with the following day. So, wala, no quarantine, but major disinfection talaga. Major disinfection process. So, sa bahay, ang gamit ko, so the first soap sa labas ng bahay. Pagdating sa loob, gamit ko, yung may moisturizer na para hindi tumigas yung balat. So, mga ganun. Pero hindi kakayanin kasi ang quarantine mo dyan is 14 days, no? 14
Right.
days. So, after one shoot, getting exposed to a lot of people, 14 days kang tenga, parang
Hindi siya possible din eh. Kapag may
hindi siya practical eh. Oo. If the next shoot or the next project would require you to do a rapid test, we're more than willing to do it. More than willing to do it. Just to make sure that, for example, the client or the next project manager is mitigating the risks and want to do a rapid testing, we're amenable to that. We're so open to that talaga. I mean, that's for the safety of everyone talaga.
Ano rin eh, kahit mag-assign ako ng ibang shooters ko sa Wishing Well, hindi rin sila makaluwas eh. I have some shooters from Cavite, so hindi sila makapuntang Manila. So, wala talagang option din halos para iba yung gumawa ng wedding nilang couple. I had to do it. I have to do it. Kasi ako lang yung mobile dito sa amin ngayon. And ayun siya, parang nakakatakot din i-risk ko yung health ng shooters ko para lang sa ganito. Parang ako, I would love to increase them for hazard pay and all. Pero mahirap talaga eh. Parang ano siya eh, parang it's a risk na I'm taking, though ako lang mag-isa dito. Luckily, ako lang din mag-isa. So kahit pa paano, I feel kinda parang glad na hindi naman ako makakahawa dito sa amin. Pero yun natin yung concern sa shoots, the following days hindi rin talaga siya possible, lalo na pag naka-schedule na siya na mag-quarantine for ilang days.
Right.
And ligo-ligo na lang sa alcohol.
Oo. Right. Kasi yung magiging challenge is if we move forward and more couples decide to do this na, and that's what we're seeing right now, minsan magdidikit-dikit na naman ulit yung schedule. Talagang we can just do as much as we can regarding disinfecting ourselves, practicing minimum health standards and the practices and all, para lang sigurado na at least from our end, we did as much as we can to not infect others or get infected ourselves from whether the clients or the guests. Now, siguro, to wrap it up, for the couples who are still medyo worried or maybe not worried, more of parang they're second guessing the idea of doing this because of how the story is, because of the concept of having this pandemic and the few guests na wala si ganito o si ganyan, na yung original plan nila is been scrapped and put a different thing already, opting for an ultra intimate wedding versus what they've had before in plans. What can you tell them from your perspective as a photographer and videographer, as the final, kumbaga sa inyo ang final output what can you tell them to, I guess, encourage them to go forth pa rin if they're willing? Kumbaga parang medyo okay na sila, nagdududa lang sila kasi yun nga yung iniisip nila. Sherard, your thoughts?
For me, para sa akin, ano siya yung mga clients natin, mga couples natin na mag-push through pa rin during this lockdown, this pandemic, parang for me, it really proves how much yung love nila to one another. It's not being about selfish. I think it will generate more memories eh. Parang from 10 years time right now, you'll see your photos and videos. You're wearing mask. You have this very small guest but dear to you. Parang these are the guests na sila yung one of the best of best people I have. Um, Hindi na siya about ang ganda-ganda ng wedding ko, ang ganda-ganda ng venue, location and all. Pero ano na siya eh, parang more on the personal level na siya. Parang mas sincere yung feeling ko. Ano siya eh, parang this is the real thing. Kumbaga, that's why we're doing the wedding video. That's why we document, because we want to capture the real thing. It's the real emotions, the real happenings. Definitely right now may pandemic. So totoo yung pag-pursue ng couples sa pagkakasal pa rin. Meron kaming mga couples na nag-adjust from a regular wedding, magpapa-west na lang sila para makapag-celebrate pa rin sila in a wedding sa different year, sa time na wala na tayong pandemic. So, luckily, may bookings pa rin sa ganun, pero nakakatuwa pa rin na they understand na ang documentation din is important kasi that will be your lifetime souvenir. May masama mangyari on the day, pero pag nakwento mo naman siya na maganda sa photo and video, parang lifetime na siya. Lifetime mo na siyang matatreasure, matatago, mapapanood at mababalik-balikan. And definitely, sa lifetime natin na na-experience natin itong ganitong pandemic, it's really something na hindi talaga makakalimutan. I mean, in future, sabihin natin sa mga anak natin, we had our wedding during lockdown, during a pandemic. So, I wish this won't happen to you, pero at least na-prove namin sa sarili namin na we love each other and all. Parang, alam mo yun, parang ang daming factors, ang daming ding reasons kung bakit pinapursue ng couples natin. Pero, for me, nakakataba din ng puso na tinutuloy pa rin ng couples tong ganitong wedding despite of
Sitwasyon natin, yes. Yeah. Brian, your thoughts?
I'll be honest. I'm not gonna encourage nor discourage our couples, but during this unprecedented time, talaga, it's really relative to them. I mean, to each and everyone's really relative. Some couples will really ought to postpone and do it next year, and we respect that. I mean, pursuing your wedding in this situation, kasi it's really there are so many risks that you have to really calculate, and mitigating those risks talaga is a really tedious process. And actually knowing all the risks and understanding them, if our couples still pursue to have their weddings this year or next year, it would be a different approach and perspective talaga. It's right, like what Sherard mentioned, hindi na siya pabonggahan, hindi na siya pagandahan, hindi na siya paramihan ng guests. This is really where you see love thrives. Parang in this time talaga of a pandemic, when a couple chooses to pursue continue their wedding, you would see a sense of fulfillment and purpose. Kasi even there's a pandemic going on, they still chose to be together in union and maybe sa huwasya or sa church, but if they still choose to get married together talaga during this time, it's something that we really really appreciate. If couples decide to do it, kasi there are some couples kasi who have parents that are immunocompromised. And of course, I mean, as a
Right.
yeah, I'm a groom, I'm a bride, or for other brides, they would really want their parents to be there, and that risk is too much to take. And we, of course, understand that. No problem scheduling it to next year where times are okay or better. But yeah, there's no certainty what's gonna happen next month, next year. We don't know what's gonna happen. There's so much gray areas happening right now. But to those who really would decide to continue their wedding this year, we promise you it's really, really going to be an exciting one. An exciting one, and a really, really heartfelt one. Kasi this you really see the couples, shine the brightest during this unprecedented time talaga. In spite of this, in spite of that, they still chose to be together, even in front of God or in front of the judge. Talagang love wins. They would be the epitome, they would be the symbol of love wins talaga. So, yun nga, to our couples who would still want to do their weddings this year, all we can say is we're gonna give you an awesome and kick-ass photos and videos for your wedding.
Ayan. All right. Now, before we formally end now, of course, I guess it's best for us to end tonight's episode with our word on the road for this evening. And I think it kind of sums up our discussion for tonight. So our word on the road is from James chapter 1, verses 2 to 3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. That's our word on the road, taken from the book of
Amen.
James, chapter 1, verse 2
Amen.
and 3. Ayan. So again, thank you very much to my guest this evening, Sherard. Sir Brian,
you.
maraming salamat for giving your time with us. Actually,
Of
feeling ko ito
course.
yung pinakamahaba kong episode dahil 1.5 tayo
Talaga?
ngayon Tayo ito na ganitong haba. Alright.
Sorry, daldal ba namin?
No, it's good. Actually, I hope everyone who's still with us and watching really enjoyed it. Shout out lang din ulit ako. I think we still have Sir Edroy Lim watching. Hello,
Hi,
sir.
sir.
Hello.
Ed!
Nikki
Hi, Ma'am Nikki.
Junicho and thank you, bro. From,
Hi, Nikki!
si your coordinator, Cam Tolentino ata, was
Yes,
also here with us.
Cam! Hello!
Thank you. Yan. Siyempre, before anything else, I'll just give you the opportunity, of course, to promote your services lang. Siyempre, for Sherard, we have, of course, you can follow him on Instagram. That's WishingWellPH. His personal Instagram, that's instagram.com/SherardU, and of course, facebook.com/WishingWellPH. And syempre for Sir Fons, you can follow him at Chapter 1 Studios. Facebook.com/Chapter 1 Studios. Ayan. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Maraming
Thank you.
salamat for joining me for episode 7 on Road to the Big Day on Facebook Lives. And of course, to all our viewers who joined us from beginning till the end of our broadcast, thank you very much for watching. And I hope one way or
Thank you
the
so
other,
much.
we to pursue your plans of having your big day despite all of this. For we are sure that these moments will still be captured and will be so memorable. And at the same time, it will be as beautiful as it would ever be. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And like I always say po, to all the Suntueds, relax, have fun, and enjoy your road to the big day. Thank you very much, and
Thank
good evening.
Thank you! Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Good
Thank you.
night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
See you
Good
on.
night, everyone.
Wishing well.